I'm Baylee Gould, and today we're going to be talking about the benefits of homeschooling. I was homeschooled. A sentence like that can really cause a lot of stereotypical thoughts, but drawing from my experience, the most common response is usually, wow, really? People think that because I was homeschooled that I maybe won't be able to carry on a conversation as well, or that social interaction might kind of stress me out, but that's not the case. I can carry on a conversation just like anybody else, probably even better than some people. Homeschooling definitely does not deprive children of social interaction. First, we're going to talk about the ways that one can be involved in extracurricular activities and keep up on their social interaction. And then we're going to talk about the ways that public school, or just how public school doesn't necessarily prepare you any better socially for just the real world. We're going to start with breaking down the stereotype that just because you're homeschooled means that you lack social interaction. The problem is that people have a distorted view of what homeschooling looks like. They think that, oh, you're homeschooled, you're just going to sit at home and you're not ever really going to do anything social, but that's really the farthest thing from the truth. In an article from the Sunstar website, it states kids usually become friends with their neighbors more, and they also have chances of going out to play more than normal school kids do, as the latter group usually come home and are tired and they aren't allowed to play outside. Also, older students have more time as well to do their hobbies and join clubs that allow them to give them a broader spectrum of friends. This alludes to the fact that just because you're homeschooled, that doesn't mean that you can't have activities that you do for fun. I have a lot of my best friendships just from things that I was doing that were extracurricular or just sports or things like that. Also, you're going to be involved with people that are like-minded with you, so they're going to be interested in the same things that you are, which can create an even stronger friendship. It seems that people have the misconception that homeschool is just sitting at home. You get your assignments done and then, okay, like what else do you do? But that's also not true. Rebecca Kockendorfer, in her book Homeschooling for Success, states, although non-homeschoolers worry that homeschooling may turn children into social misfits, we know that the opposite is true, and that positive socialization is one of the most important reasons to homeschool your child. As a homeschooler myself, I remember, like I said before, being involved in a lot of sports, being able to go to dances still, being able to go to just school events with my friends that did go to public school. Also, as I talked about before, a lot of those friendships that I made through those things are friendships that I still have today and that are still really important to me. I also had the opportunity to be involved with adults more, and I wasn't so surrounded by kids that were only my age. So that really set me up for success for being able to interact with all sorts of people of different ages and that kind of thing. Going to public school really doesn't ensure that you're going to be any socially better off in the real world than if you're homeschooled. I went through it all. I was homeschooled. I did online K-12. I did videos from a private school in Pensacola, Florida. I also got the chance to go to public school as well. But after having all of those experiences, I can say with 100% certainty that the majority of my social development wasn't from my years at public school. The National Home Education Research Institute website shares some facts about homeschooling. It says that homeschool students are regularly engaged in social and educational activities outside of their homes and with people other than their nuclear family members. They are commonly involved in activities such as field trips, scouting, 4-H political drives, church ministry, sports teams, and community volunteer work. All of these activities provide a certain social environment that you really can't get anywhere else. Recently, I was talking with a little girl from my church, and her name is Rachel. She's in 7th grade, and she's trying to decide with her parents whether she's gonna skip 8th grade and just go straight into 9th grade at public school, or if she's gonna be homeschooled. I think just like any teenage girl, she would rather go to school because she would get to see her friends every day and that kind of thing. But she brought up some really valid points about the things that is involved in high school and just the things that high schoolers think are important. And she expressed to me that she felt like she wasn't really missing out on much Because I think when people think about high school, it's a lot of drama and cliques and people not really feeling sad if they can't fit in with the popular kids. When in reality, it's just kind of like, is that really going to help you in life? Is if you can't fit in with the popular kids, or if that's something that you struggle with, because in any situation you're going to have to interact with different people, whether it's in work or church or anything like that. And so if you're just used to being exclusive with those people that you like or that you know, then it's that really the skill set that you learn at school really isn't going to be super helpful. There's a lot of things that you can do to maintain social development as a homeschooler. I think, as I said before, sports is a huge thing. I think that being homeschooled is being seen more definitely as a positive thing. Just being able to have a lot of time to do those extracurricular things. And just because, like I was talking about, just because you're homeschooled doesn't mean you can't carry on a conversation. I mean, here I am talking in front of people and it's totally fine. Just like with anything though, there's going to be people that are homeschooled that lack social skills, because if there wasn't, there wouldn't be the stereotype in the first place. But just as there's an exception for homeschool kids, there's also going to be that exception for kids that go to public school. There's going to be kids at public school that don't know how to act in social situations and are just as awkward, if not more. Although I've definitely seen firsthand the benefits of being homeschooled, I also feel like it's not just something that I'm saying because I'm biased. I think that all of these points that I've talked about really prove that homeschooling is and definitely can be a super beneficial thing for one's social development. There are definitely countless people who have gone on to be successful even though they're homeschooled. We know a family named the Votbergs that they're a family of 10, they're homeschooled, they're musicians, really super successful musicians, and they live super social lifestyle. Now is the time I've set aside for questions if there are any.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Were you homeschooled?
I was homeschooled, yes.
Up till what grade?
I went to high school for my sophomore year. So basically from second until sophomore year, I was homeschooled.
Do you feel like when you went back into the school system that you were totally equipped to walk right back into that grade that accepted you as a sophomore? You know, were you all caught up, or were you behind, or were you ahead?
Yeah. Academically, I think I was totally fine to go. Also, I think socially there wasn't really an issue, just because, like I talked about before, I'd been so involved in sports with most of the same kids that I was going to school with. It was totally fine, a good transition. Thanks for your question. My hope is that after listening to this speech, the next time that you hear about someone being homeschooled, you'll be less likely to think that they're less socially healthy and that they might lack some social skills. And also perhaps if you're considering homeschooling your kid, that you would see the benefits of this.